Captain's Log, Episode 105. This episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective, home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. On this installment, Captain Huck and Beer Wonder welcome back guest beer venger Belgian Babe for a 7-pour show, featuring a recap of the Pony Bar's 16th birthday celebration, a primer on beer party etiquette, an update on the Catskill beer scene, and more. Because of the gaps between episodes, I'm going to include a brief spoiler here. Late in the episode, I mention an upcoming heart procedure I was scheduled for. I had the procedure. It went exactly as expected, and my recovery has gone so smoothly that the only reminder that it occurred is my greatly reduced body hair. Yes, that happened, and no, I won't be providing pics. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate, and send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 105, Catskills 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, with a beer vengers, beer vengers, beer vengers. With a beer vengers, with a beer vengers, beer vengers, beer vengers, with a beer vengers. With the Avengers.
That is our upcoming EP version of the Beer Vengers theme song.
I dig that. I feel like we need to put that out for realsies, Huckster.
Absolutely.
That is that's good right there.
Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens. This is Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in Fresno, California, this is the Pale Male Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the county of Kings, why, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And coming to you from the same undisclosed location as the captain in Astoria, I am the Belgian Babe.
And we are...
We are a musical bunch
Wow.
tonight. That one was
Yes,
actually
That was good too. That's going on the album.
Something very,
I
that
think
was
so.
very yoga-esque, that one. That was nice.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Very,
Well, welcome everyone to this. This is a sort of a jumpy, fun, crazy start we're having here.
It is.
Yes, for the first time since we have been back from our hiatus, we're joined by a guest. Welcome, Belgian Babe.
Thank you. Thank
Woo!
you very much. It's exciting to be here.
4
And,
Beer Vengers in one.
I know.
I know. Oh, and for those of you watching on the video feed, if you're checking us out on YouTube, you'll see.
Yeah, if I've remembered to put that up yet.
Right, fair enough. But it's 4 Beer Vengers in 3 boxes, which I think
That's right. It's very
did we may have done that in the dark days, in the early days, right? When
I don't think we ever did. No, I think we did one with the two of you and myself in the same location.
Yes, we
but
did.
that was just one box.
That was 1 box. 2 Beer Vengers, 1 box. That is going in a whole different direction.
Yeah.
There you go. We may have had guests that put in themselves in 1 box.
That is true. That is true. But I don't know
Well,
that we've had 2
maybe
Beer
not.
Vengers, 4 Beer Vengers, 3 boxes.
I don't know if we've had one for the entire beer cast. I
Fair
think
enough.
we've had one where Nutpool came in and then
And we had the woman who sings the song.
White. Yes, Wheat Lightning. I couldn't remember her
Wheat
name either.
Lightning.
So thank
Yeah.
you.
I know that.
I remember her
the
real
woman's
name. Yes, but what's her
Yes.
name? Yes, Wheat
Wheat
Lightning
Lightning.
did, and then
Yeah.
or she might have crashed Nutpool's show, or Nutpool might have crashed
Yeah.
hers
And Cider Girl's been known to pop
for a little
in.
cameo now
To
and again.
pop
Sure,
in,
but
that's right. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
so-
say what you will about Nutpool.
say
Fair
what
enough.
you will. We'll be saying a little more about Nutpool later, I think.
I think so.
And people who are That's a whole other thing. I'm getting a little confused because I think I'm just getting dehydrated because I
Yeah.
haven't had my beer yet.
Yeah,
gotta have
these
one.
are real beer Avenger issues.
They are. So I think
Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready. Here I go. Pouring my beer.
Huckster.
it's been like over a year,
Yes.
Huck. So yeah, go ahead, Beer
We
Wonder.
haven't had a guest in a moment, and I just want to remind everyone of the appropriate etiquette when we have guests. I know it's been a second; it's just been us. We've been doing our thing, but we got to class it up. Okay, we got a babe in the house, and she's
Real
Belgian.
ladies first.
The Belgian babe. Yes, of course.
Exactly.
That's right.
Please.
It would
That's right.
only be polite.
You're the
Thank you.
guest.
Thank you, Beer Wonder. Okay.
Yes.
So I this evening will be drinking a
Sponsored pour.
No
That's
way.
right, from the Beer and Cheese Collective.
35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens.
We've been
This is your friendly Allagash North Sky.
there. Ooh.
Yep. And
Love
I will read
Allagash.
to you.
Oh,
I love
do
the
love
can
Allagash.
art. Very pretty.
Yes,
And
the-
it
the-
says,
Very Belgian-y for you.
yeah, I have not had this one before, and so I'm reading it to myself as I read it to you.
Mhm.
It says, like a clear night lit by stars, this silky Belgian-inspired stout balances light notes of fruit and sweetness with roasty malt. Inspired by late evenings spent around a crackling campfire, North Sky is brewed to merge lightness and darkness
Mm.
into a super sippable stout.
Well, that sounds very good.
Yeah, I don't know how one can say super sippable stout very well after several of these, but
That's yeah.
be worth
Oh,
exploring.
Belgian
Crack that
babe
open,
with
yeah.
the
All
right,
Belgian
here we go.
stout.
See what
Let's
you
take
got.
a look.
There we go. All right.
Ooh. Mmm.
I like a
Very
good
nice,
Belgian
very
stout.
Thank you.
Uh huh. Classic.
All right. And I need
we
to
go.
make sure I hold it up to the camera
Yeah,
here.
it's a little bit
Ooh.
higher there.
And
isn't it?
Go a
my-
little higher, yeah.
If
Yeah,
possible.
it's
and my
dark,
hand was
too.
sort of in the way.
All right, there we
So
are.
there we go.
Oh, that's a good look.
Oh, nice.
There we
That is
go.
really pretty.
Oh.
I like that angle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a
This
beautiful
is
pool.
going to be
Not a ton of
enjoyable.
head on the beer, but
That's-
oh no, there it
No.
comes. There it
Comes
comes.
to
It's-
life
it's
there.
there.
Yeah,
It's
perfect for
there.
Belgian, yeah.
Yeah.
Now let me hold that next. Hold it up a little bit more.
There we
There
go.
we go.
I mean, Allagash
Cheers.
consistently puts out interesting things. which
Always
is
good.
lovely.
Yep.
Yeah.
I look forward to getting back to you on that.
All right, who's next?
Well, I'll jump in, even though I was rude, but I think it's good because then maybe you guys can run to your fridges and change your mind.
Does our arbiter of politeness allow that?
I mean, look, he was so excited. I don't want to dampen his hopes.
I was
I
actually
think
going to
that's
have
fair,
a
that's
different
fair, yeah.
beer, and I realized, oh my gosh, we got the Belgian babe. We got to go to
Oh,
Belgium.
There
look
we
at
go.
that!
So
Very
we have
nice.
the what is considered the Belgian saison, which is
Look at
saison
that.
DuPont,
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
and I have had this, and I
Okay.
love it. I absolutely love it. It's so refreshing
That's exciting.
and full of spices. Some kind of spices in there, I think. Let's
what might be in there?
let's take a look at it.
No one knows.
I think there's nutmeg in this.
Mm.
They very
These are-
very well could be.
These are the questions
There
that
we
we
go.
ask ourselves.
The saison
Mhm.
DuPont.
Saison Dupont.
Nice.
Saison
Very nice.
DuPont. Not blurred, I hope. No, there we go. That's good.
No, you can definitely see it. That's also a kind of a cool can, very simplistic, almost a little 50s. There's a lot going on
Mhm.
there,
And tall.
and very tall. Yeah.
It's tall. Please go on. But it's 1 pint and I can't read it because of these glasses. It's
See,
a little
it's
more than a
extra,
pint.
a little
Little
extra
extra.
beer in
Nice, nice.
there.
Indeed.
You know what, Captain? I'm feeling like I have perhaps overstepped in chastening everyone today. So I do feel like it would be appropriate for you to go next.
Well, it would be impolite for me to refuse. So here we go. This is one from a brewery I visited recently. We've
Ooh.
had them on the show before, but it's been quite a while. It is called it's called Fresh Coat.
Oh,
If you notice here, we have a cat who's
meow.
skiing.
Yeah.
So the fresh coat refers to the fresh coat of snow
Mhm.
because they have a cat named Teddy at the brewery.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Our brewery cat Teddy sure loves a fresh coat.
Who
And
doesn't?
this one here was brewed in the heart of the Catskills using New York barley, wheat, and oats, along with English chocolate malt and roasted barley for an extra smooth, velvety stout. This is a modest 5.4% ABV. What's that?
Sorry, did you mention the name of the brewery?
Didn't I say Westkill?
I don't think you did.
I thought I
I
did.
don't
It's
think
from
you- but-
Westkill.
Oh no, because I was going to guess Catskill, but
I
with
was
the
going to guess
cat,
Catskill too, but
Westkill
but
is
Westkill
fine with
Brewery.
me.
We visited there recently, and we'll be talking about that in a bit. But
fun.
for now,
we,
let's
we
just
love
look
a
at
beer
this
from a
beautiful
travel.
beer.
Ooh, that is a Captain beer for
Nice.
sure. Nice and dark. Gosh, I mean, from the angle I'm at, it looks like Coca-Cola that's developing an insane head.
Yes.
So it's got that good dark kind of caramelly color and a good
Well,
head on that beer.
you don't want to compliment Coca-Cola too much or it'll get a big head.
That's
all right.
very true. Very true.
There
Fresh
we
Look
are.
at
coat.
that. Fresh
All
coat.
right. Well,
Let's
well,
get
Beer
it
Wonder,
on here.
what do you got? Don't keep
Well,
us waiting.
Oh,
I
you
know.
can't drink yet.
I know. I gotta do one more because there's 4 of us today. Well, here's the thing. I just like the Belgian Babe will be rocking a
Sponsored pour.
Another sponsored pour from the Beer and Cheese Collective. And
Yep, and
fantastic.
It is from a brewery that I just love. So I was so happy that the provider gave me one from it. And of course, it is a style that I enjoy. This is from our friends at Back Home Brewing.
They're great.
Which does like put a Born in Iran, made in New York beers. And this one is called New Day IPA. Really lovely can art here. I just think it's very simple and beautiful. You've got script up here, and then the flavorings that they've added are sumac and apple. And the thing I love
nice.
about this is there's not a ton. They've partnered with a group to give back with this beer to feed neighbors, but also the little quote that it has on the back says, "May every day be a new beginning." And I just thought that was kind of
Excellent.
lovely. So let's
I
see
would say so, yeah.
what this has in store for us.
Brooklyn lives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is.
Isn't it pretty? It
Sure
almost
is.
like the
Oh.
color
I don't know
almost
if
feels
that's
like
your
it's
lighting,
bright.
but it's got a pinkness to it.
it is sort
Yeah.
of like yellow. Well, there's an apple in there, so it almost kind of has that. I love that it almost is picking up sort of the like sunniness of the can art there. I just
Yeah.
think that that's very beautiful. So yeah, but I'm always a big fan of Back Home beers. I love their flavor combo, so I'm excited to try this one out.
Well poured,
Cool.
sir.
Cool.
All right.
Right.
I think we're ready.
Oh my
I think so.
gosh. The
Cheers,
anticipation.
Vengers.
Cheers. to
Cheers,
the Avengers.
Vengers.
Cheers, Vengers.
Mm.
Hey,
Prost.
whoop. We can actually.
Very nice.
Mm.
Ah, love it.
Oh.
One thing, again, presumably we will remember to get this up on the YouTubes eventually.
Yep.
I've slowed down a little on that. But what the Belgian Babe and I here did when we toasted is a sort of a Beer Vengers tradition that was sort of pushed forward by the Globe Hopper, which is
Mhm.
when you toast, you really make sure that you look each other in the eye. I know that's an old tradition for toasting,
Sure.
but
Mhm.
he and Cider Cat take that to a new extreme. So to
They
honor
do.
them,
Yes.
we
Yes.
do that one.
As it
Oh, well
should be.
done. Yeah, so you got the
Yeah.
timing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Then you don't
okay,
have to look at each other the rest of the time.
That's right.
Right. You can
Well,
you can just
we're-
stare at your
we're-
beer.
Or stare at the screen. There's that too.
Right.
But that doesn't count as eye contact, I don't think.
Yeah. So I got a question for y'all. When you think of the flavor of sumac,
Mmm.
what do you think of?
I
That's
feel
an
like
excellent question.
I feel like I had it in beer before,
Mhm.
but in my mind, it's poison sumac,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
the
That's
first
what
thing I
was
think of
thinking
too. Yeah.
too,
and
yeah.
so I think of a green leafy
Okay.
flavor,
Yep.
maybe,
Yep.
which isn't
Um,
like, could be a good
yeah.
additive.
Yeah, well, so in the case of what we're doing here, it's kind of like a classic IPA base, very kind of East Coasty, but the sumac is coming through in this kind of deep tartness, almost a lemon character, and then there's this sort of mellow sweetness on top of it from the apple. It is a delightfully refreshing beer. Definitely has that like bright new day kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go down a little stronger than it should for a 6.5, a little quicker than it should for a 6.5, but highly recommended. Cool flavor additive, really complex and interesting beer, continuing to do all the things that I just love about Back Home. So kudos, well done, great beer.
Wow.
I would say
And then-
Excellent.
a
Yeah.
quaffable body with a respectable ABV.
Mhm.
I always find that to be a win-win situation.
It is, and I just love the way that they put together flavor combos. Their Persian lager is incredible, and they have a sour out right now, which is really wonderful. But this is just a great example of how you can take a flavor profile that we don't necessarily immediately think about in American beers, something that's coming to us from the Middle East, and really kind of spice things up on what I would call a New England style IPA. So always a fan. this one's going to go down way too fast.
Now, where
We'll
is
see.
that black back home? Do they have a tap room?
I'll be honest, I have only ever bought their beers in cans or been served it at bars. I don't know that they do. I believe, Captain, weren't we introduced to them at one of the Brewers Fests?
Yeah, I think so. I remember when we first started getting emails, like notes from them on Instagram and all over the place. And yeah, we've definitely met the woman who runs it at a couple different places. And she's been to a number of tastings at Beer and Cheese. So I think she's local to New York.
Yes.
But where specifically, whether she has a tap room that you can go to, I don't think there is.
Yeah, I don't believe so. I know I've seen a lot of her stuff at Beer Witch, and I think that she kind of distributes through those like smarter beer bar kind of situations. So like, Beer and Cheese Collective and things like that. But I don't believe that she has a tap room. But gosh, is she pulling out beautiful things. So
Yeah,
she sure
that
is.
sounds great.
Big fan.
Yeah, and sumac is made from it's a berry, and it goes back to what they do at back home, which is the Middle Eastern flavors. And so that's where you were talking. You just mentioned another one, Persian.
Yep.
So they do Persian styles, but a sumac is a berry, tangy spice made from the dried ground berries of the sumac shrub.
Well, there you go. So yeah,
Shrubbery.
But you don't want to have the poison ones.
Don't
Maybe
do
that's
poison
why they
ones.
call. Maybe that's why they call some of them poison sumac to differentiate it from the delicious sumac.
Yeah, ward you off from making a poor choice in your beer.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
like Ivy's cool.
And in your sumac.
And your sumac, yeah.
Oh, great. Well, I tell you what, the Saison du Pont, right? It's has everything that you want. I don't want it to sound like a commercial. It has everything you want in a beer. It brings you right to the streets of Bruges. You just feel like you're in that. You're there enjoying the beer in Belgium. So it has that really distinct Belgian flavor, that sort of spicy sweetness, right? But then it also, you ever have the remember the Sriracha Ace? I'm going back.
Oh, yes.
Brooklyn
Oh
Brewing.
yeah, I do remember
Sriracha.
that one.
And that was their Saison, and it was
Right.
I never got into it. I kept trying it because it kept popping up in places.
Yeah.
But it was just like, and a lot of times with a Saison or farmhouse, as it were, it's got that funkiness. So it's like, you don't know which direction it's going to go as far as the quality of it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, I guess it's cliched, but they just nail that too. They just have that perfect Saison flavor, and in the best possible way. Just such a sweetness. And then there's it's a bit of a sour. It has that little tartness on the finish. And I had a 4-pack of this. This is actually my last one. I mean, I love this beer. Only first tried it last year. Now it's like one of my favorites.
Oh, Mike, that one's. I'm sorry, Huck. I should say. Well, we're breaking some of those rules now, aren't we? Huck,
Yeah.
that really sounds amazing. What I was also noticing about that one, I was remembering back to our trip to Belgium about how one thing that they definitely don't have that is strictly an American craft beer thing is that we always. All the American beers have kind of funny names, or even the ones that are dedicated to Belgian beers have
Goofy names,
have
wacky names.
Goofy, or even just something artistic or interesting. And all the Belgian beers are always just very straightforward.
Yes.
They're always very like, this is a Saison, this is a stout, which as good as the Allagash beers are, they do not continue that specific Belgian tradition. For instance, the North Sky we have right here.
Norda's Omegon, yeah.
There you go.
How about that for a cigarette?
That was a solid transition.
That was
man.
a transition
done.
right there. So, so I am enjoying the North Sky. It's a step away from the Allagash White, of course,
Okay.
and I think when I think of Allagash, I don't think of dark. So this is a nice surprise. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but it seemed, for me, I'm getting most of the flavor at the finish. And having said that, there's a lot going on. I'm getting a little something each time. I'm noticing definitely the roasty.
Ooh.
I also notice a little bit of hoppiness.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it's a nice combo with the sweeter and the roasty. Definitely the malt flavor of it. And to me, it seems more like a brown ale. Brown ale sweetened. I wouldn't, if you gave this to me blind, I would maybe not think it's a stout. I would think a porter or a brown. So again perhaps that's what makes it super sippable.
Quaffable, one might say.
That's true.
Interesting bit of trivia here. I was looking at the spreadsheets the other day, and this is only the second time we've had an Allagash beer on the show.
That's
interesting.
wild. I think I might have had the other one. I think it was a white.
No.
Oh gosh.
Good guess
my
though.
God.
Thank you, Huck, for playing.
No, it was Globehopper. He brought on
yep.
the Haunted House.
Wow.
I was surprised when I looked that up, and when I was looking over these sponsored beers, I did think it would be good to have Belgian Babe have this one because I think at one point she told a story on the show about Allagash White. I'm not sure how did that come about.
It's part of my,
We're not going to play that. No,
we're not going to play how it's part of my origin story. So yes,
but
I do not sense any nutmeg in this one.
Oh, so you're saying there is not?
There's nutmeg in here.
That was going to be the big question.
No, there is not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Unless I'm wrong.
Now,
I mean, but it's not forward.
Gotcha. How do you feel about that? Because I know you have preferences.
I'm
on
okay. There's a lot of other stuff going on, so it's
good.
Yeah,
this Haunted House is one of the first ones to pop up on Untapped. Strangely enough.
Yeah, it's weird. It's every once in a while there's a brewery that I feel we've talked a lot
as
about,
is North
for whatever
Sky.
reason hasn't had a lot of we haven't had them on the show, so I'm glad we have doubled our Allagash beers on the show.
Yeah.
Well, strangely,
nice.
when I go to Goldstein's, you guys have been.
Yeah.
Every 3 months or so, they have an Allagash on the board, and it's actually matches one of our fellow beer Avengers in that it's a triple. Always,
Always, as it should be.
I swear.
As it should be.
I mean, I maybe there's been other Allagash on the board. They have 40 beers or something, but it's the triple, and I get it. I'm like, it's
Always.
a 12 ounce too. I'm like, I get it because I mean that Allagash, they kill it. And what's wild, they're one of the original craft breweries. I mean, obviously not the original, but as far as the 90s aughts go, they are one of the certainly in New England, a groundbreaking brewery. But they still do it. A lot of breweries that are that old sort of get set in their ways and aren't as good, but they continue to kill it.
Yeah, if I may, Huck, the can actually says independent brewers, since 1995.
There you go.
There you go.
From Maine, with love. Mm-hmm. And you can taste
30
the love.
years.
So there you have it.
30 years, yeah. So good. I mean, that's established. Such a great brewery.
Yeah, they're great.
But speaking of breweries we've only had on the show once before, Westkill, we had them back around. It was episode 38, I think, back when our provider was Rig, also known as a name that I'm not remembering. Mm-hmm. I remember their name, but I do not remember what we named Rig. But in any case, this is Gesundheit.
Sorry.
This particular the one we had that point was called Sap House. It was a brown ale. It was because it had some maple in it, and it's funny because I find that right now that is starting to become a new pet peeve of mine. Beers with too much maple in them. I like maple fine, but a lot of places overdo it. But
it's very difficult. Either it disappears or it's too much.
Yep.
But before I get to the tasting notes on this one, the Sap House we actually had when we visited there, and it is just the perfect amount of maple.
Nice.
This one, on the other hand, is it's just a perfect example of a non-adjunct oatmeal stout. Mm-hmm. Those of you who listen to it, we talk about adjuncts and non-adjuncts. When I said this is English chocolate malt, that's a type of malt that has a chocolate flavor to it. It is, but it's a pure thing, and this is just one of those things that I could just drink all day long. And enjoy it very much. Velvety is the perfect description of it because it just goes down. So it's just there's a bit of a weight to it, but very nice, very refreshing. Good for all seasons.
Fantastic. Nice. Have we ever had DuPont on? I think it's the first with this one.
I think it is. Yeah.
And where are they from, Huck?
Belgium.
Oh,
Belgium.
they are actual Belgian. Okay, you probably said that. I'm
They're,
I think
sorry.
they
they're
did,
the,
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
I've read about this. I read
Yeah.
beer books. In fact, I'm reading a book the Belgian Babe gave me,
Ooh.
That's right.
which is the woman's place is in the brewery. It's about women in beer,
I just remember it's about alewives.
All right.
but it's a great book because it goes back and
Yeah.
forth. It talks about the past, the ancient past, and
Mhm.
women's role, and then it juxtaposes it with the American craft beer scene and the
Oh,
women
cool.
that have paved the way from the 80s,
Mm.
And so it's a great book. I mean, it really
Oh,
is
great.
great. And I found it the other day. I hate to say it because you gave it
Yeah.
to me when we
No,
left New
no.
York, which is 3 years ago. And I was like, where'd this beer book come from? And I opened it up and it said, "Oh, Huck, we're gonna miss you." And like, oh my gosh, a Belgian
Aw.
babe gave me this beautiful book,
There you go.
and I'm so glad to have found it, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very good. Anyway,
Great.
one of the things I've read about in beer is that Saison Dupont is the beer the Saison was gonna disappear as a beer style in Belgium,
Right.
in Europe. It was like nobody wants this anymore. It's so
Okay.
old fashioned,
Wow.
and they were one of the ones that really made it and had been making it for a long time. And they said, well, let's see if Americans will buy it, and they started exporting it. And so when they started
Wow.
exporting it, American craft brewers, this is around, I don't know if it was the 90s, but it was that time where it was like, let's make that. And that's a big influence on Allagash and Ommegang and other
Yep.
what's
Sure.
the one in Boulevard in St. Louis that
Oh, yeah.
took the Saison, the Belgian concept, but specifically the Saison, and tried to, and like the Sriracha Ace, for example,
Yep.
in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
But Saison Dupont is primarily responsible for the American craft beer scene making Saisons, because
Okay.
otherwise it would have been one of these things that faded away in history.
Oh, wow.
Little piece of. We could check the hookups on that later, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I do this for a living, guys.
Well, it's funny. It's funny when we talk about hookups. I was just remembering recently because because the last episode I had to actually open the episode with a hookup because we had because I just had to get ahead of it because I had during the actual episode.
Oh yeah,
I had a beer that I said was from one brewery, but it was actually from a different brewery altogether. I swapped out Trillium with Equilibrium, and just so in case anyone listened to that and didn't listen to my intro, that beer was by Evil Twin and Trillium, not Equilibrium. And I was typing it out, and I was writing out Hookup, and
Oh no.
and the autocorrect changed it to Hiccup.
Oh, okay.
And I suddenly realized that Hookup is just the perfect combo, since a hiccup is also a fuck up.
Right.
So a hookup is actually the perfect like portmanteau to meld.
Yes.
Hiccup and fuck up. It's a hookup.
Oh my God.
It's a hookup. That's great.
works.
Well, you coined it. If I'm
I think she did.
The Belgian
I don't
babe.
know. I think it might have been Cider Girl. I don't know.
All right.
It wasn't
we'll have to
Cider
get
Girl. I'll
the,
tell you that much.
We'll have to get our Beer Avenger historian back into the
We'll have to review the
archives
tapes.
and check on
Yes.
that.
Could have been me.
And that, it might have been. I don't know.
I mean, I am Huck.
Well, Belgian Babe was our first guest, and that was
That
when we
is
were still
true.
trying to figure out what to
Isn't
call
that
various
wild?
things. Yes,
Yeah.
that was our this is the 5th episode of our since we started up again, and you were on, I can't remember, it was our 5th or 6th episode.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
But
quite
it
5
was-
year ago. Not quite
I'm
yet.
nothing if not consistent, I guess.
Good.
Yeah, well, because with that one we had our 3 origin stories plus the origin story of us together, then the
Yes.
Black is Beautiful episode, and then I think it was the pumpkin with
Okay.
you.
Okay.
We've
have
been through some things together, friends.
Yeah,
It's
and that was why
It's been a
actually
journey.
we don't need to belabor this, but I feel that like we might occasionally be getting new listeners, and sometimes I worry some
Sure.
references we have are maybe a little dated. Even though we love playing the nutmeg quote, it actually is. If you think it's the same voice as the person you're hearing today,
And that's
it
accurate.
is. because that was part of her origin story. As we
I
were
am
saying,
the
I'm not-
nutmeg,
yeah.
and the nutmeg is I.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
There you go.
she was on 2 different episodes, and she told the story almost the exact same way, and that's how it became a soundbite. Because she was surprised to have nutmeg in her Allagash white.
Yeah, changed my life and my thoughts on beer. So there we
Big
have it.
moment.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On a bus. To
Anywho,
Pennsylvania.
5 years later,
I can't believe it.
I
We
can't
we
believe
need to
that.
have a 5-year anniversary show.
We
Oh,
sure,
we
yeah,
should.
we have plenty of time for that.
Yeah, it'll be
Yes.
like in September or October or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
long
Invite
enough.
all the beer ventures.
That
Have
would
every
be
beer venger run.
Yeah.
That
We had that
sounds like a
concept
night.
before.
Or as many as possible.
That sounds like a nightmare Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
All
Can
the
you
beer
imagine,
vengers on a Zoom.
with like 20 boxes on here with a
Yes, I can. We should.
I do that for a living too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yes,
There you go.
less
I
and
was
less
just-
of a living these days.
I was just checking the time to see how much time we've done in the show, and it says 12
Yeah.
minutes and 49 seconds.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No one will know that, we had pauses.
and add 18 minutes onto that.
Okay, 18. Got
Yeah,
it.
oh, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
All right, we're
well,
doing good. We're in a good
Yes,
place.
I think we're doing great. Yes, for whatever we want to segue to now.
Well, I remember
Showing
there was.
everyone.
I remember we had a meeting before the show.
We
and,
did.
and
Very
we
important.
laid out exactly how it was going to go,
And
Yeah.
then we started drinking.
and you wrote them down.
Yep.
Yes, you made notes, and
And
did
I
make
was
a few
like,
notes,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll just flow
Well-
with that. I'll just, and then
well,
I'm
we
now it's
did.
following.
become the
yeah.
Huck Show as usual.
We did mention, like the origins of the Beer Vengers, and of course
Yes.
that means that there was a bar where all of this came together, and that bar
yes.
can now drive, which it shouldn't do
Oh,
because it's
I guess it
drunk.
varies from state to state, but yeah.
Yes.
yeah. But it varies from state to state. I didn't realize that.
No, it is different. I mean, I don't know if it's older than 16 anywhere. They're actually, I don't know. This is something for all of you to Google out there and send us your emails about. But yeah, I remember like when I was growing up, it was definitely 16 where I grew up.
Yep.
But I heard that there was like in Arkansas, it's like 14, so they can drive tractors or some shit
Well,
like that. I
so
don't
And
know.
then there's driving with a permit and driving with a responsible
Sure.
adult, which,
Mhm.
We could also go with that analogy too.
Yeah.
But I guess
But-
we're saying in
Metaphor.
Ohio and
Metaphor.
Massachusetts and Minnesota, it's 16 in all 3 of those states.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I mean, you
Or
could
at least
drive
was
farm-
then.
You could
Yeah.
get a license to drive farm equipment in Minnesota if you were younger than that, but that was like very specific.
I see.
Either way, the pony
then
bar can
again-
drink and can drink. It certainly can't drink, but it can drive. It can drive,
That's
but
right.
it
But
shouldn't
don't drink and drive.
Exactly. That's where we were going with that
Okay.
one. And
That's right.
and the captain and I met up to celebrate Sweet 16 at the Pony Bar.
That's right. It was a joyous occasion.
Mhm.
Had some wonderful beers there. Yeah, there was they had one beer. Who was the brewery that made the one that was specifically for the thing?
I have to double check that.
It was called. I always ask these questions that if I bothered to look it up on Untapped while I was talking about it, we'd know already. But anyway,
Yeah.
the
I'll try to find it out.
No, I
these
got
are
it.
multiple ref. Oh, what is
It
it?
was Whitman Brewing Company.
Oh,
Okay, Whitman Brewing
Yeah.
I
Company.
gotta look that up.
And it was
even
the
though
Stay
the
Golden
pony,
beer.
even though the pony or Stay Gold.
Yeah, Stay Gold. Thank you. Stay Gold.
And many of you probably get that reference because it is the Pony Bar,
Mm.
and there was a movie called The Outsiders, which is now a big Broadway musical. And one of the characters in it was named Pony Boy.
Mhm.
And spoiler alert, he dies, and the tribute to them was said to him was
No.
"Stay Gold, Pony Boy."
Stay cold, pony boy.
And so for some reason, because that's the Pony Boy's like catchphrase, it became part of the Pony Bar. So they say "Stay Gold."
The logic here is sound.
It's
Yeah.
it makes sense.
And it was a good beer. It was a nice. It was,
Yeah.
it was
And
very
now
nice.
delightful.
there's a musical on Broadway, so go figure.
That's right.
Exactly.
So you
So
can
that
go to the
they're
Pony
continuing
Bar.
to stay gold
Yep. You can go to the Pony Bar, have a beer, and then go see the musical.
in honor of the memory of Pony Boy. And if you've seen it, haven't seen it, sorry. It's been out for a long while.
Wasn't that Ralph
So I think
Macchio?
it's okay. Was
he
Ralph
Pony
Macchio
Boy?
Pony Boy, or was it C. Thomas Howell?
I'm gonna go with Ralph, but
Bar trivia
all right.
time.
I know.
what do you think, guys? Do
It wasn't Tom Cruise, and it wasn't Patrick
I
Swayze.
think it was C. Thomas Howell.
That's what I think it
actually.
was.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that.
But it wasn't Patrick
Yeah.
Swayze or Tom Cruise or Rob Lowe. These are all
See
people.
Thomas
who were in
Howell.
that
We've
movie.
seen recently. He was in the
Soul Man.
1923. The
Oh,
Taylor
nice.
Sheridan
Oh.
thing.
Oh,
All right, I did
There's
not. I
also
did
some
not
other
see that one.
Western. About John Brown with Ethan Hawke, I believe. That
Oh
was.
yeah, I
Okay,
like.
okay.
I remember that. I didn't remember he was in it.
He was
I didn't. I meant to watch that. I didn't get all the way through it.
Hmm.
Let's see.
It was an episodic thing. I saw a few episodes, kept meaning to get back to it. Didn't.
You guys are right. C. Thomas Howell, Ponyboy
Look
Curtis.
at that.
My
in
bad.
any case, he was not at the Pony Bar event.
Disappointing.
But there was a
But you
beer
were.
in
He
his
should have been there.
character's honor. Yeah.
He's also in
so-
E.T.
how
the
wa-
Extraterrestrial.
See
I know
Thomas
that
Howell
one.
was?
Yes. And
Yeah,
what
he's one of
type
the
of
kids.
beer was the is the Stay Gold and
It was an
And what did
IPA,
you
wasn't it?
enjoy?
It wasn't. It was a classic traditional imperial American IPA. It got me toasty real
Mhm.
quick. Definitely like a little resiny. It had some of that like good grapefruit feel to
Right.
it. It had a nice amber gold color, which feels appropriate.
Oh.
So it was a solid one. I think both the captain and I had one, and they were
Yeah, it was
delightful and They
good.
hit hard. Hmm.
It was good. In fact, the only really one they had for their anniversary list that was in my wheelhouse was it was a Finback. It was and it was like a little 5-ounce pour. It was a chocolate and coffee and
Yeah.
and I think there was peanut butter in there too.
Right.
I mean, we've gone back and forth about how I feel about peanut butter and beer and how Huck feels about peanut butter and beer. But Beer Wonder and I were talking that night, and we realized that we've never actually heard Beer Wonder weigh in on the peanut butter issue.
We have not.
No, and I do have strong feelings about
We
peanut
might have,
butter.
I don't know.
No, I haven't. I usually stay quiet because I have strong feelings on peanut butter. I love peanut butter.
I
as
stay
a-
neutral in the peanut butter.
I do. I think peanut butter in its purest form, in the correct form, out of a jar,
In the natural form,
in the natural
with
form,
no sugar added,
with not
yes.
lots of sugar added, is
No
the
sugar
way-
added.
No sugar added is the
I
way
say
that peanut
no,
butter
none,
should
yeah.
be. But then the minute you start adding chocolate to this whole situation, you've thrown the whole bit off.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Peanut butter cups, gross.
Wow.
Highly sweetened peanut butter, disgusting. I cannot with all this nonsense. So yeah, that is. I'm a bit of a peanut butter purist in that way. And so I often bite my tongue because many people have.
So in the
thoughts
beer
and feelings.
then that's a no. That's a for sure no.
It wasn't the worst,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but it wasn't also a very sweet beer.
Yeah, and I would say the peanut butter aspect wasn't overwhelming in it,
Yep.
so it was good.
I didn't.
I got
feel
one in
like
my
was
fridge
eating-
right now.
But I do think, Beer Wonder, that calling yourself a peanut butter purist, that's something you share with the late Father Brown Stout. So
Yes, that is
RIP,
a
there
way.
we
to
go.
him.
R.I.P. to the late Father Brown Stout. Glad that he and I are once again connected in our
That's right.
love and
Uh-oh,
mild
Huck.
disdain around peanut butter.
I'm sorry, Huck did not raise a glass. What does that mean, Huck?
I was just saying I was gonna get a second pour, but I'm thinking I might have to get that. Should I get the peanut butter stout?
I feel
I
like
have?
we have queued you up for that.
if that's
I
what
gotta
you
get
need
it
to
though.
do,
It's
yeah.
in the fridge.
Yeah.
All right,
in the
we will
fridge.
we will keep the conversation. We'll
Well,
talk a little
talk
more about the
amongst
20 bar.
yourselves.
While you,
I
yeah,
was gonna
yeah.
say, well, while you run, I do want to hear a little bit more because I know that you guys went on a little adventure yourselves.
We did,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact, while Huck is getting since Huck's going to get that second pour, I think maybe it's time for us to move to our second pour.
Oh my goodness, this is a big show, guys. Lots of second pours.
Because although my first pour was also from the trip we went to
Mhm.
the Catskills, which
Right.
I don't know if this episode is going to be called either Weekend of the Catskills Part 2 or Return to the Catskills.
Mhm.
Like all
All-
sequels, it's interesting. I think our Return to the Catskills had just the perfect combination, all the best sequels rather, that remind you of your first experience with a bunch of fun extra stuff thrown in there.
Yep.
Yep,
To
that's
make
the
it
way.
And new
unique on its
experiences
own.
as well.
And the worst sequels are ones that are just flat out remakes that
Correct.
don't add anything new. But we got some of that. So in honor of our trip to the Catskills, first of all, when we were there, went to this wonderful place we talked about before, the
Mhm.
Bovina Farm and Fermentory. Had a lovely dinner there, and this time they offered us a thing where we could actually buy some bottles that they brewed
Ooh.
there on location to do it.
Oh,
And so I brought home a couple, but then I thought, like, this will really only make sense. It's such a big bottle, we should share it together. So that's why we're
Yes.
here in the same box tonight. So here it is.
Ooh.
It's funny.
Pretty.
So it is called the Dilly Dally.
My goodness.
Mhm.
Look at that.
It's too bright for it to really. Oh, there we go. It's
Oh,
kind of showing
No,
up there.
it's good. You can
Wait
say it's
for
also
it.
it's all sweaty too.
So they call this, well, I just pulled it out
He's
of an
had
ice
it on
bucket.
ice.
I know. Well,
And so it's technically, they call it a blended beer
Wet.
with rhubarb.
okay.
Now, and Untapped refers to it as a farmhouse or maybe a grisette. We had another one that they was clearly labeled a grisette. But this is not only made with the rhubarb adjunct, but it also is conditioned in the Chardonnay casks.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And am I right in remembering that it is rhubarb that they grow themselves on the
Absolutely,
Vina
it is.
farm?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's
all
what I
right.
thought.
So here we go. Here is your.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, these are not white
Ooh.
wine glasses, but they're the best wine glasses I had. And
Wow.
I felt like this should be poured in a wine glass.
That does feel
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gorgeous
Check
in the
that out,
glass.
right?
Yeah,
absolutely
Is that pretty?
beautiful.
It's
It's
so
all
pretty.
right.
the
Really
bubbles are
effervescent,
there.
yeah.
Oh God, look at that thing.
So here we go, and
That-
let's.
I've been thinking about this all day. Looking forward to enjoying it again.
All right. So
Yep. There it
Cheers.
is. Cheers.
Cheers. Wow.
yeah. And that gets back to our talk about Belgian
Oh.
styles too.
No question. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
so pretty.
Yep.
My goodness. And tell us about it. How does it taste?
it's fantastic. When we had it there, the night of there, it was with it was paired with a compote,
Oh.
Mm.
and I'm
Okay.
always having a
Interesting.
hard time describing compote because if you haven't had compote,
You mean the terrine?
that's what I meant.
Yeah, but I know
I don't
what
know
you
why I
meant.
said compote.
I don't know.
Yeah, terrine.
Terrine.
That's what I meant.
But
Why
say
the
what
fuck
it
did I
is.
say compote? Well, it's
Could really
see,
taste the compost.
Because you had
Jesus Christ.
what was the
No, it's
ABV
just
on
a
your
name
first
that makes
beer? There you go.
I have no actual connection to it.
Terrine,
Like
no.
some things have a name that describes something,
Right.
and terrine is just its own thing.
Yeah.
And at some point I said compote, so forgive me.
There it is.
So it's a wonderful terrine. It's I think there was 2 different kinds of meat in it.
Mhm.
Ooh.
And but it's weird when
Huck
you
has
look at a picture of terrine, it kind of just looks like spam.
True.
True.
But it tastes so much better than that description gives it credit for. So if you've ever had terrine, this was a wonderful terrine, and if you haven't, just trust us. And if you see terrine on a menu sometime, you should have it,
It
and
had-
it goes
Yes.
great
Yeah.
with rhubarb beer.
It had berries and meat and things in
But
it. And
that
it's a
food
slice of-
y'all were having.
a slice of delightfulness.
I think we're gonna get to the we're gonna break down that menu in a second, but first, Huck, I think you should have your second
Yes.
pour.
What did you?
Oh,
That is
thanks.
very
Because I'm
true.
like, I'm not drinking.
Did you go with the peanut butter?
I did. Here we go. It's called the
Oh.
Nutty Operator. The Nutty
Ooh.
Operator.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
a peanut butter oatmeal stout. Getting back to your
Nice.
last, so it should be nice
Yeah.
and creamy. This is our
Mhm.
from our friends at Altamont Brewing, which I've had now a few times, and I'll probably have to put them up on my favorites list too. Out of Livermore. That's what we say it back.
Livermore.
Livermore.
Back in
That's right,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, baby.
Say Livermore.
There we go.
That would have been a great town in Massachusetts.
Oh my God, Livermore.
Livermore.
That's right.
Unfortunately, there's a right-handed pour situation, but we'll give it a shot.
Mm.
Oh, almost spilled
There it is.
Almost
got it.
spilled it.
You got it.
Jeez. I'm really bad with my right. There we go. Good enough. All right.
Mm.
That worked out okay. The
That's a good
Nutty
look.
Operator.
Nutty Operator. I love
Nutty
the
Operator.
I love the
This
glasses.
is, this is one of the 3 beers that survived our party, the 3 craft beers that I had recently. Cheers, guys. Let me give this a try.
Cheers.
Right off the bat, the nose is just gives you the peanut butter right away. Oh, and I love that. And it's not like you said, like that pure peanut butter, but it's more the candy style, you know,
Mhm.
like the
Yeah.
Reese's. Like I get Reese's
Okay.
right on the nose. I get Reese's, and it's almost like somebody took the chocolate off the Reese's and just left the cup, and it's
You okay, Beer Wonder?
No, I'm not.
very not only peanut buttery but peanutty. Like I get
Mhm.
You see, that's the
Okay.
thing is
Mad
like I
peanut.
have more patience for peanutty. Like if what I
Yes.
have tastes like roasted peanuts,
What is
I'm
that,
okay with that.
that wonderful one that
With that thing, with the
yeah,
guy
with the
from
thing,
the place.
with the picture with the peanuts on the can, and it was only like a seasonal or a one-time.
Oh, nuts
thing.
about nuts.
Nuts about nuts.
gives
But that was
me
not.
the-
That was like 4 different kinds of nuts in that,
I
wasn't
know,
it?
but it was so
Yeah, it's like coconut and yeah.
it gives me the vibe of like something that I wouldn't make for myself to eat because there's way too much sugar in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because I'm trying to keep a new weight, and but it's a beer, so it's okay.
Yeah.
God.
It really.
That's true.
I'm going to think about it a little bit more. Let's hear a little bit more about the
Yeah.
terrine,
Yeah,
if you will.
I want to hear more about the
Yeah.
terrain.
Yeah, well, let's actually, I think, go back a little bit to the whole thing. For those of you who didn't listen to our last episode, again, we're trying to make these episodes a little self-referential now and again, but
Yeah.
we'll give you some catch up since this was about a year ago. Back in late 2023, I had read this thing in the New York Times about this place called the Bovina Farm and Fermentary, and what they basically do is every Friday night or Saturday night they have these dinners with basically 30 guests. They brew all their own beer. Some of the stuff is from their farm, but it's a farming community, so everything is just hyper local. And we had a wonderful time there. We went there in December of that year, and it's always been thinking like, hey, since it's so hyper local, what's it like during other seasons?
Right.
So for my birthday weekend this year, we decided to go up and see what spring was like at the Bovina Farm and Fermentary.
Right.
By the way, we did discover we'd been probably pronounced it wrong entirely on the last episode. It is Bovina and not Bovina.
That's right.
Ah,
Right.
okay.
And they never know what the menu is going to be till a few days before, because
And we don't know till the day of.
Right. And everything is so local. They say, okay, what does Farmer Brown have going on this week, or whomever, and what are we ready to harvest from our own property? So
I think we
it's really
started
great.
with a scone and a grisette.
Ooh.
And it was the scone was just on the cusp of being a biscuit, but it still had that scone quality to it, which I don't know how you can do.
But
because
it was also very light and thin, because when I saw it on the menu there was a scone, I thought, well, that's a kind of a heavy
Dense,
start
right.
to a thing, but no, it was like wafer thin. And
but also that's what I was saying is like it was like a little lighter, but it still had that scone flavor to it.
That sweetness.
There was a whole episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David was giving someone a hard time about something that was a scone that was clearly a muffin. And this was not. This was definitely a scone, but it took me a few seconds of tasting it to really come around to that.
Right. Yep. Yeah. In fact, I think when I saw them bring the plate to the table, I thought did I think the scones were the butter pats or something? I can't remember, but it was.
I don't recall.
It was small enough and light enough that it was like,
This
that
is a nice way to start the
expands
meal,
my
yeah.
definition of
This
what
is
a
our
scone
aperitif.
can be. Yeah, exactly. So, yep.
And what was it? Was the asparagus next?
No, then on to the terrine.
Oh, the terrine was right. Okay, so so the
I wrote it
terrine. So
down.
yes,
Yeah.
Let's talk more about the terrine since you actually remember what it's called.
Yeah. It almost to me makes me think of like a liver. I don't know, maybe a pate or not a pate, but but it's a slice.
It's all contained together.
And I think in France they do make it with liver and other things, but this had local berries, it said, and a couple of different meats and stuff, and and then paired with the rhumbarb beer, which was
cool.
Yeah, terrine is a fancier pate.
Yeah, and I was concerned because it's dense, and again, I having been to this 4-course dinner before, I was worried that, as I was the first time, am I going to be able to get through all 4 courses?
Right.
In fact, the first time we went, there was a wonderful stuffed squash, and it was, like sort of like the base of a squash stuffed with a sausage stuffing, and I actually kind of left some of that on the plate because I was afraid of, so this was, they paced it very well. And I think the courses were, we'll get to the next course, which was just asparagus. So you kind of didn't fill up before you got to the main entree. So that was great. But,
so here are the things. I'm looking at the menu.
Yes.
It was pork and chicken.
That's it.
With some Berrybrook radishes. Berrybrook is the name of the farm.
Okay.
Like pickled radishes. That's the word.
That's why I thought berries.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the menu now.
And then the next course, which was paired with a table beer with lemon, was an asparagus. Now, the funny thing is, I don't hate asparagus, but the way my mother made it, I didn't like it ever, really. It had some kind of a I don't know. There was kind of some kind of an aftertaste, but this was the most amazing asparagus I'd ever had. It was like I was like, okay, now I like asparagus again.
And it was served with like chopped
eggs,
hard-boiled eggs, and
that didn't bother me really that much.
No,
either.
and they were just little bits of it, but the seasonings around it were wonderful.
Alliums, herbs, and which I still don't really know exactly what allium
like
is.
Scallions
Another
and
new
things
word,
like that.
Yeah.
And then the main course, which was served with a dark lager, were this venison à poivre. So it had this I sent you guys the pictures of it. If you're curious to see it on the Bovina website, they've got pictures of it there. But it was just this à poivre sauce. They were apparently in Paris at some place on vacation and had this à poivre sauce. And I don't know if they got the chef to give them the recipe, but at some point they just said, I think we can do this. And they did a wonderful job with it. It was fantastic.
It looks gorgeous.
Yep.
It
was nice.
And then the dessert was a rhubarb cake.
Yep. And it was very nice because that was the captain's birthday weekend.
It
And
was.
so when things are served family style. So they would bring platters, a couple of platters of the asparagus for the table and platters for the tureen. But then a couple of times we were sitting across from each other and they would bring something for two people to share.
Right. And that was like a big thing, wedge of cake there with the rhubarb on the top of it.
Right. And they brought our slice with a lit candle in it to say happy birthday to the captain. And he said to me, "Oh, did you arrange this?" And I
apparently
thought,
I had told them that. Right. I just mentioned it when we made the reservations.
But I absolutely agree that I would love to take credit for that.
Yes, you should.
But I was honest and said, no, I didn't do anything. So, yeah. But it was really nice. But this rhubarb beer, are we going to talk about the beer?
Yes, we can talk about
I
the
was just going to say that, well, I have another bottle. So when you all come to Queens,
coming soon.
I'll open mine.
Yes,
I would love that. Coming soon.
I bought 2 bottles.
A brewery near you.
Or a brewery near you.
There you go. No, I just want to say, for me, the rhubarb beer is just really evocative of my growing up. My grandmother would make me strawberry rhubarb pie.
Oh.
And what's really lovely about this beer is you think rhubarb and it's very tart.
Yes.
But they've done what she managed to do, which is to, pair it with other flavors and things. And so it's sort of like not too tart, not too sweet. It's just a really beautiful marriage of the two. So,
and I should say that too, since I shit all over my mother's asparagus. I should say that
that's
but
not
literally.
That image.
But I feel like that's what I did about 2 minutes ago.
Did not.
And so don't we use that expression anymore? Is that
I do, but
it's appropriate.
All right,
but. Guys, it's been a rough night for me. I had to hear Huck wax poetic about peanut butter, and now we're talking about shitting on asparagus. It's rough.
Just it's a metaphor, motherfucker.
Just a little drizzle.
Yeah.
Oh no, we lost him.
We did. He's
he's still there. Okay.
So what I was saying, the reason that was on my way to a compliment is my mother used to make cherry rhubarb pie. And I would never shit on that because it was one of my favorite things, especially because it was so unique. I've never seen that anywhere else. I hear people talk about strawberry rhubarb all the time. But cherry rhubarb was the way my mother made it, and it was really wonderful. So it has those memories for me.
Cheers to mom.
Cheers to mom, and I'm so glad that we brought that back.
Cheers to mom. All right.
My dad used to. We used to have wild rhubarb would grow in the yard.
Oh,
yeah.
In Shrewsbury. Yep. And he'd go out, we'd be playing basketball. He's like, look, come here, look over here. And it was right there in the front yard for some rhubarb. And he would grab it, start eating it. You can eat it.
Yep.
He'd eat it. He was doing it to freak us out or whatever.
Yeah.
It was you can eat it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's awfully bitter on the top.
But if you cut it and you put it in a pie with, say, cherries, that's going to be nice.
Yeah.
And I've had it in beer too at some point.
Our neighbors had some in their garden, and their teenage daughters used to get us cups of sugar, Dixie cup full of sugar, and you'd bite it and then dump it in the sugar. So you kind of counteracted, right? It was the 70s. I mean,
I've never heard of that.
Who among us?
That's awesome.
Right? Anyway, yeah.
God.
So I guess
wish I'd
rhubarb
done
for
that.
me is very, was a
Do you-
lot.
And do you
But,
get that? Does
yeah.
that bring you back to that place?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
that's-
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, it
Absolutely.
was,
Yeah, it's like I said, this is a very nice.
was interesting about not only was the first one a winter meal, but
that's right.
but it was also a Christmas meal, and also it was the first time we'd been there, so it was just like,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
and she didn't know it was happening until it was there like an hour before we went.
Yep.
Nice.
All I said was, "I've got a surprise. We're going upstate. Take some time
Get in the
off."
car.
And she did. Yeah, get in the car.
Get in the car.
And,
The first time, yeah. I just found your
That's
menu
right.
to that as well.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
And so this was there. It was in some ways. So I think it was partly because we were, we'd been there before, and also it wasn't a themed night, so it was a little more low key, but it was still very special. Had a nice time with our table because it's all family style, and there's like 6 of us at this table, and the couple next to us got there around the same time we did. And here's the crazy part: is that they were. She works for an extras casting agency that Huck and I used to do a lot of stuff with.
Yep.
Oh, that's neat.
But
Yeah.
not from the time we were there. She's a little younger. She's a little newer there. But so
Yep.
like
Right.
we were able to tell stories about that. And then the next couple over from them, it was like, so imagine if Tony Soprano went into the witness protection program.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He was this guy from Brooklyn. I got to
Hey.
step back from the mic a little bit. He kept saying, "Hey, yeah." I'm trying to remember exactly some of the things he was.
We used to live in Long Island, and now we're up here. And you know what? We got no cell service. We got no. But you know what?
I never go back.
3 of my wait. How did he do it? It was three of my friends. 3 of my friends. This was the gesture.
They
If
came
I
to
ever
visit me
played
once.
If I ever play him on stage, 3 of my friends had their daughters' weddings in our driveway, in our
Oh my God.
yard, because we got how many acres? I'm doing Long Island.
Since
But
I've been
anyway,
here, people come
Yeah.
once.
Right.
They come once.
and they go, "What do you mean? You got no cell? You know what we got? No delivery.
And we only
God.
No delivery. You
We
want
only
something
come
from Amazon?
once.
You know what? Yeah,
we only found
They
this
don't
place
come
because it was
3
listed as a
times.
local restaurant.
that's right. That's
Oh my
right.
God.
Oh
That's
my God, it was so great. It
wild.
was like
That's
I was
Yeah.
sitting there just cracking up, and of course, we couldn't say anything. But
How
Well,
fun.
we
Yeah.
had,
And
we
they
had
like,
a
yeah,
nice
I got-
conversation, but yeah,
That's
it
how
was-
I am in Fresno. People come once.
3 friends have booked our yard for their wedding.
We'll come back
you know,
another
and
time.
Like, it was great.
But you haven't been back here once since you left, so fuck you.
And
Well,
I'm
he said
it's
he's
good segue. I'm
he
coming
said
back.
he's-
He
He's
said
coming
he's coming
back.
soon.
I
He
know
said
it's
he's
July.
about fucking
Coming
time
back.
too.
I know.
I'm
Really,
saving-
you really are
I'm
right about
saving
that.
the rhubarb beer for you, Huck.
So excited.
July
Save it.
1st, July 2nd, July 3rd.
It's gonna be
Fantastic.
And July 3rd, I think, is going to be our Beer Avengers blowout night.
Love it.
If you guys want to
Excellent.
prepare yourselves for
Down. My phone's
will.
over there, but I'm putting
Emotionally.
it in. Fantastic.
that.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like,
I can't
Everyone
wait.
else
actually.
parties on
I'm
July
excited.
4th. The Beer Avengers start a day early.
We
Independence.
start a day
we
early.
do it correctly.
We're gonna fly on the 4th, so yeah, we're not doing anything.
Okay. All right.
Well, we flew to Paris on Thanksgiving Day, so same thing.
See, it's a
It's
good day. It's a
fantastic.
holiday. It's a
Nobody
good
was-
day to fly.
Nobody
are.
was there.
They are.
Maybe we'll get our own row. I want to make a declaration at this point
Okay.
about peanut butter beer. Let's get back to that.
Oh God.
Yes, please.
I think I'm okay.
Okay.
I think that I've had them, and I think it's time to let go.
All
I
right.
think
All right,
I'm
then.
ready to.
Yep.
I don't
This
want.
is your last peanut butter beer.
I don't want people to stop making peanut butter beer
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I want young
No.
people to experience it,
That is true.
and I want everyone to have the opportunity to have that joy.
It's for
But
the
for me, I think we've reached the end.
Now,
My
I'm
God.
I'm like these poor bastards at Altamont are
Wait.
like
God.
But-
we turned you
broke-
off
we
of
broke-
peanut
we
butter
broke
beer.
Huck, yeah.
Yes, but based on his love of the peanut butter whiskey, I'm not sure Nutpool would agree
That's
with
true.
you.
I don't
Oh,
think. I
yeah,
think
he would still
But-
have a peanut butter stout.
Not
You know
Fool's
what?
gonna
And I
fight
Say
may.
what you
Look at me.
will.
I thought I was a lager guy. I'm drinking stouts and
Yeah.
saisons.
This is
you know,
true.
so I
You
go
are-
all over.
And you
I'm
are
all over the map.
hophead. You
Your beer
are the
tastes are
IPA
fluid.
hophead.
You are
That's right.
every.
Beer
you-
taster fluid. Thank you.
You are every Venger, Huck. It's all in
Yeah.
you.
That's why I have all the nicknames.
And
Yeah,
that's
'cause
going to be
today
another
I'm,
track on the Beer Avenger album.
Exactly. But
Decaf
Huck-
Stan, the stout drinking man.
There you go. Now, but
Very nice.
Huckster, didn't you have a beer party?
Yeah, I had.
recently?
Well, we had a
yes,
party
tell
for
us about that.
our lovely birthday girl on on Monday, who shall be named the Cider Girl.
The cider girl.
Hey, huzzah.
And
Sometimes known as Bricken.
we had a birthday party, curated the crew pool party because
Oh yeah.
You have
You
a
got the
pool.
pool.
Yeah.
Nice.
it was great time, and my cousin TR came down. Now TR should
Oh,
be on
nice.
the show too because he's a wild man. I was thinking, oh, that's a good beer venger name, the Wild Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like wild
And
ales.
where is he in the world? Is he out near you or is he
SF.
out in
So
us?
he's up in the city.
Oh, okay. All right.
He and his wife Vicky, lovely people. I was thinking that we like to hang out with them, and then we also hang out with Bricken's cousin, Lindsay, and her husband Nick.
Mhm.
It's childless couples.
That's how it works.
I don't
We
think
could
you
just-
should whisper that.
We could just go and do whatever the hell we want, whenever we want.
Except we have to get home to feed our dogs.
Duh, I know, right? They have yeah. Everyone has the dogs. They all have dogs. Anyway, TR and Vicky came down for the party, and they also came down the night before, so we beer venged quite a bit
Mhm.
Nice.
on Sunday and Monday. But T, the Wild Man, he's like, and by the way, I'm saying TR, like two initials.
Mhm.
And like I said at the party, I'm like, he's my first cousin. That's the best kind.
Yeah.
And so, thanks for laughing at that. I don't know. But anyway, he came down.
Sometimes it's
and
all about the rhythm.
he went to the Total Wine or Bevmo. Went to he said he went to the exports aisle or imports aisle, I should say, and bought one of everything.
Perfect.
But not like he got Heineken's or there was a Hacker Shore, but like went for the most obscure beers he could find,
Okay.
put them in the cooler. So those, like she bought this one called the Godfather, which is Indian.
Ooh.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've
Like
had good
from
Indian beers,
India.
but they do make light lagers. I'm a lager guy.
You're
I
the
like
lager
lagers.
lad. Yes.
I'm the well. That's Crispy Chips. That's my
Yeah.
lager name. But yeah. So now I have all these. I have an Armenian beer, a Ukrainian beer. I have a stout that just says stout on it. I think it's from Finland.
Okay.
So I got a lot
I
of
like it.
foreign beers.
I
But
like.
I'm
simply
happy
labeled
to
beers.
share my beers with friends. I want them to try these because then I can create more beer vengers. That's
That is
what
true.
I want people to
We're
try
infecting
them.
the world.
That's what we
Yes.
do.
Just keep infecting. In fact, there was a kid that was at my party,
Yeah.
young guy, and he said, "I had this beer. It was amazing. It had a bird on it. I had it on the podcast.
Yeah.
It was it was a triple, always a triple."
Always. Every
So
single
he
time.
was like, "I never had anything like this before in my life. It was amazing." I said, "That was 9%." He's like, "I know."
For a
Like,
brief moment,
like
that sounded like one of those Trump stories. Young guy, strong guy, tears in his eyes.
Beautiful.
Sir, I had a beer. Yep.
Sir, I want to talk to you about that beer.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
My God.
But yes, so yeah, it's interesting. I know you were mentioning before about with when you have a beer party, you have all the good beer and then you're left with the not very good beer. That's why you have to.
Right.
If it's actually, I mean, since it was Cider Girl's birthday, that sounds like you're inviting who you're inviting. You don't have that problem when you have a curated beer selection, but also a curated beer guest. You have people who are
If
on.
you will.
They don't have to be necessarily exactly on your level, but people who understand this is a beer party.
They know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
They
Right,
know what the
right.
expectation is.
Great folks. We had a
but,
really
but
nice
maybe
group.
you'll discover something from all those countries that they come
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
Well, that's all TR. Yeah, the Wild Man.
Yeah.
There we go.
I did want to add on. We were talking about our Catskills
Yeah.
trip, and they said there were a few things that weren't exactly like the first time. The biggest one was on our way back. That's when we went to West Hill Brewing, which is where I had that wonderful oatmeal stout. Yes.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah.
It strikes me that Beer Wonder has not had his second pour yet.
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't know if it would help enable his listening if he were to do that first.
It would help. And
Fair
here's the
point.
thing.
Excellent.
I'm going to be brief with this one because I'm taking it old school, friends.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm taking us to an evil place.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
An evil set of twins who have made some beer.
Which
And
one
they
could it
must-
be?
it must be purged. The light must be brought in
Yeah.
to these evil twins by bringing home some Jesus. But we can't just have a little bit of Jesus.
Oh. How much Jesus
Not
do
just-
we need?
You know what? I think we need more Jesus, but not just that much. I think we need even more Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Classic.
There you
A
go.
classic 12%er from our friends at Evil Twin. A few times in the history of craft beer, it has happened that a highly praised beer rises beyond mortal stardom into a higher godly league. Usually the recipe to make such heavenly drops is a thick, fudge-like body, pitch black color, amazingly overwhelming aromas of chocolate, coffee, dark fruits, and muscovado sugar, obviously only made in limited amounts, and most crucial of all, it must taste rare.
Going to beer going to beer wonder cellar, yeah. Come high water or hella, yeah. Got lots of cardboard boxes. I don't think there's any foxes. Going to the beer wonder cellar, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Jesus.
Even more
Lives.
Jesus.
Jesus lives.
Jesus
Yeah.
lives. Praise us all, and let's have some more. Here we go.
I love this choice. Got some good color.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
we
pretty.
got some
It-
serious
This
It
is
has
honestly
in there.
one of my favorite beers of all time.
Exactly. Well, it's a beautiful beer, and praise us all. Maybe all be blessed by the spirit of even more Jesus from our friends at Evil Twin. It's been a
Amen
minute
to
since I've
that.
had one of these, and it
Huzzah.
just felt like
For you.
it just
Yeah,
felt like
cheers
the
indeed.
right moment for that.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
know, 4 beer Avengers coming together. That is a praiseworthy moment.
Well
Bless it.
played.
All right, then.
Beer
And
Wonder
we've
said
talked about
some-
this beer plenty. It is just as good as
It
any
is.
of us
As
remember it being.
always.
It is.
As
Now,
always.
have we ever had it on the show?
I will have to look. I don't think we have.
I don't think so.
We've
I don't
had
think we
some.
have.
Oh,
even-
really?
Surprising.
Oh, so it's got a smoky character, definitely a chocolate area. It's not super sweet. It has this finish is really smoky, goes straight up your nose.
Mm.
Drinks it is not a super heavy bodied beer. At least this varietal is. But it's just delicious, and it's a really beautifully done smoked stout. Chocolate, coffee, porter, classic like smoky character. It's outstanding. Great with
Wow.
barbecue. Yeah, I know it. Well, even more
Good
Jesus.
description.
I mean, if you don't know even more Jesus, you have not been blessed by the glory. I highly recommend you find a way to get yourself some, because
You
it
need
really
the,
is just a magic.
Come to Jesus moment is what you're
You do
saying?
need to come to
There you
Jesus
go.
moment,
All right.
and
Well,
honestly,
there
we
you
are
have it.
having it. We are having.
like
I
We
can
are.
feel it.
I'm sure I've had it in the bars. The Pony, probably.
You've had it in the bars, and Huck. I know that the captain has served even.
I
more
had it
Jesus
one
had.
time.
Yeah.
I once kicked a keg on Christmas Eve of Even More Jesus. I was at the Beer and Cheese Collective. It was Christmas Eve. I ordered an Even More Jesus, and that was the last of that keg. So,
And
Wow.
honestly, he is risen. Wrong holiday, but
Yeah.
he is in that moment.
absolutely.
There it is.
Sorry. Now that we have praised appropriately, please continue. Tell us about West.
Yeah, so Westkill. So the Sunday when we went back, last time when we were coming back from there, we stopped at the Catskill Brewery because we realized on our way there that it was literally we passed it
Yeah.
on our way there.
True.
So I was looking up, do we go to Catskill again? But Westkill Brewery, like I said, we had them on episode 38. We had this brown ale with this just the perfect amount of maple. I said, well, this sounds like a really great place. We should go. So it wasn't really that far out of our way on our way back to New York. And it was the end of this, we were getting there right around the time they were opening, at the end of this 5-mile dead end stretch, then up a big hill. And like, well, we're going to be the only ones there. There were a bunch of people there already. And we did not actually meet Teddy the brewery cat.
No, he was hiding.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like we got the beer, I got a sticker with Teddy on it.
Yep.
And they're one of those places they have like guest food people every weekend. It's really interesting to see the way that different places will have either a food truck or a dedicated space where anyone can set
Yeah.
up in a kitchen. And it was one of
Yeah,
those. And it was fantastic. We had some like spinach artichoke dip and a grilled cheese
Which
sandwich.
was like a tiny little, not your big, tub of it, but it was like a nice little, and yeah, we used to get a grilled cheese sandwich with it. So
and
it was
I had
nice,
some of
yeah.
the Sap House beer. And which one
And I
did you
had
have?
the farmhouse saison known as Leona.
Very good.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it was good. It was nice. It
mysterious.
was, again, and I thought of you. I believe I even said to the captain that you would call it quaffable and very drinkable. And yeah,
Mm.
it was nice with food, you know?
It was.
Yes.
It
Oh,
was.
sure.
really
And
Absolutely.
so, and of course, brought back a 4-pack of the fresh coat, which I now have one left of. But
Wow.
I wanted to have one on the show.
Yep.
So if you're ever up in that area, it's not far from what's that other? I was just looking it up today. It's not far off the interstate. You said your brother visited there a couple of times. Keegan's is there. What's the city?
I don't remember. Not Red Hook.
No, not Red Hook's in
That's
Brooklyn.
no.
There's
also
a Red Hook upstate too.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you, Beer Wonder. I don't know, Kingston.
Kingston's, yeah,
Kingston,
it's
Kingston.
not far from
Oh yeah,
Kingston.
they have a brewery there too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah, it was a
Yeah.
really great time. So get up there if you need to.
There you go.
This is because every time we have 4 people on, even with just 3 of us, things seem to go a little long. So I know this show's running a little bit long, but we did want to spend.
What do we care?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Nobody listens to this
Let's go all
anyway.
night. Well, it's interesting that you say
got-
that. So it feels like we've been doing this, and we have a pretty big moment because we just got our first troll.
Oh my God.
Taken almost 5 years, but we have one.
Popping our
was
cherry
looking at-
cobbler.
Yeah, I was looking on our YouTube page last night, and someone is. Well, here's was kind of funny of it because our main outlet really isn't YouTube. We do have shout out to AJ Snap. I know AJ watches, listens to us on YouTube, and we're starting to put some actual video content out there. But all this time, like when you sign up to put these things out there, you just sign up for all the outlets. And YouTube is not one where people usually go for us, but this person certainly noticed that and decided to shame us for having so few people. So I thanked him for because basically saying that, like, well, hey, you have a point. You're our first troll, so thank you for the wonderful feedback.
Well, Spartak Silverhand, I do want
Yeah.
I just want you to know that all engagement is good engagement. So thank you for
Sure.
pushing us into the algorithm and helping us with that. And I hope you have a delightful beer. Perhaps a little bit of Jesus in your day would be good for you.
There
Just
you go.
a
There you go.
not a ton, not even more Jesus. I think we got to start. We got to step you up from the baseline.
Yeah.
If I may say his quote,
Yes.
Well, if
you
may,
average
all right.
5 viewers, 100 episodes in. Time to pack it up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Geez, I don't know if you're a troll going after someone who has that kind of numbers. It might be time for you to pack it up too. I don't know. Or maybe
Who is
just getting
taking
started.
numbers on that?
I don't know. I don't know. It's the funny thing is because
Is he with Nielsen?
here's the funny thing is I almost didn't want you to say the actual number because I was doing some math on how much more it actually is.
Yeah.
It's a lot
what I'm
more than
saying.
that.
Yeah.
But I also think the numbers probably wouldn't impress them either.
That's true.
No,
Well,
sure,
because
but
we-
5, he's being a dick.
Right. He's basically saying how many people are there on YouTube, and we have a lot more than that, but still nothing compared. We're still an aspiring cult hit. We're not
Exactly.
We're
quite a cult
theater
hit yet.
people.
We are-
We sit in the, we make plays in black box theaters where 15 people show up and we're like,
for 20
we
people
do it
on stage,
anyway.
yeah.
That's right.
Yep. And,
but
also,
also-
the aliens are there. We don't know about them. We don't know how many of them
correct.
there could be.
Correct.
And I'm
That
going
is
to
also very
establish that the aliens may be pushing our numbers higher than we know.
But to go with the whole theater people thing is like, we're not so much about the numbers. In fact, we really appreciate the numbers of people who do come. So those of
Yes,
you who
that's
are
true.
there, don't worry. We're not going to follow this our beloved troll's advice.
We're not going to hang it up. Yeah.
We're not going to hang it up, and we're very appreciative for all of you who've been reaching out to us.
Yeah.
Especially with the theme we've been having going for a little while since
Mhm.
we came back about, well, depending on what we want to call it, reasons not to kill yourself, reasons to avoid death, ways to avoid death. You have to actually find the reason before you find the ways.
That's
And
true.
so we're sort of balancing
That's
those
accurate.
things. I would say we've spent this whole show talking about reasons that we're glad we're alive.
Yeah.
Since
Yep.
you've been here, that's still that meaning of life thing is there. A couple episodes ago, I did. I should say that AJ and we already mentioned before that Pat, aka Incredulous Bulk, Bruce Beer Nerd mentioned a
Dr.
thing.
Bruce Beer Nerd.
And Laura, I have to actually look this up right now because Laura from Beer Vlogs, we couldn't remember the name of it, and immediately after she listened to it, she texted me with how we can reach them. So I want to make sure I get to that. Here we talk amongst yourselves while I find this.
I'd like to jump in, and I wish I had my phone handy because on the way here, I saw someone posted a quote from Audra McDonald, and it was saying basically, just do good work for the sake of doing work that is good and doing good work for the sake of your growth as an artist and something like that. And she said it so much better than I just did. And maybe we can put it in the Instagram. But,
and then she said hashtag fuck Patty LaPone, right?
Well, yes, because
honestly,
that feud is epic.
No, she actually went on CBS this morning and said, I don't know what Patty's talking about. My point was about the 5 followers, and we are not doing this for the 5 followers, which is more than 5. We are doing it because...
And one of them is AJ. We know AJ watches this.
But we do this because I heard you 3 talk about this for 10 years before it ever happened. And it's a passion of yours, and it's a creative outlet. And
we've done it for 5.
All need that. So, hello.
Right? But what was the name of our troll again, Huck?
That was me. I believe it is Spartak Silverhand.
Spartak Silverhands. You do you, living your best life.
This is what I'm saying.
This is your thing.
Well, he's got 0 likes on his comment. I'll tell you that much.
And no content at all. But maybe you have to shit over other people's content for a while before you come up with your own.
It's like the asparagus.
Exactly.
There we go. Shit on your asparagus, shit all over us.
And we bring it
but enjoy
circle.
your cherry rhubarb pie. So I couldn't come up with a name of how to find Beer Vlogs before.
Right.
It's very simple. It's beervlogs.com.
Good.
And you can find all the stuff for their thing there.
Sweetie.
They got ahead of that one.
A few episodes ago, I had the dramatic reveal of the heart monitor I was wearing, and I mentioned that I'm dealing with something. So in about 8 days from now, I'm undergoing a procedure called catheter ablation, pulse field ablation, where they go inside my heart, hopefully fix whatever it is, and I'm supposed to come home that day. So it's apparently it's becoming a very common procedure.
Good.
We'll let you know all that. So who knows? Maybe by the time this is released, I'll have already been through it, and maybe I'll even mention in the cold open if need be. And Belgian Babe is going to be helping me through that.
Keeping an eye on him.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, these are, the good news is they call them a procedure for a reason. They've got a structure in which they do them. There's a step-by-step process.
Although I think they call it a procedure because it's generally speaking, if you're in and out the same day, they call it a procedure.
Right.
That's
If it's more than that. If it's more than that, they call it surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
But a
But
procedure.
if they were concerned, they would keep you there longer.
Yep.
So this is kind of routine for that. I know it's not routine for any of us.
It's not routine for you.
No, it's weird because it feels like there's all sorts of things they could be doing to my body. Like
office for them.
Huck, you had hernia surgery a few years back.
Yes.
I had a colonoscopy a couple of years ago. A lot of people will, if you live long enough, will have
I've
that.
had 3.
The notion of them going inside my heart is a little freaky, but a lot of the things I've been reading about seems like it is becoming very common and it's safer than ever. So looking forward to telling you about coming out the other side of that,
Absolutely.
and seeking continued reasons to avoid death.
And continued reasons to drink with friends, which is what this whole thing is about.
Yeah.
But alcohol is actually a poison, so it is killing us slowly.
Well, but we're all dying one day at a time.
But life is a fatal condition, right?
Exactly.
Very good response. Life is a fatal condition. That's
every
awesome.
moment we live brings us closer to death.
Yeah,
that's
and
right.
honestly, here's the thing: Jesus died for our sins, so we might as well
really
enjoy
to
it.
the heart of it.
We might as well enjoy it while we're still here. And honestly, life is not worth living unless you can have drinks with friends, as far as I'm concerned. So cheers to that.
I'll go with that. I think that's a wonderful.
Is that a way to wrap it up, or can I tell them about our Saturday?
Sure. No. We can talk about that.
Can I epilogue this very quickly, Huck?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, he's got the uke.
So when I was in Fresno about a year ago, year and a half, however long, I was like, I was having a PBR there one night, and Beer Wonder freaked out.
I did. I was very disappointed.
But I've actually, there's a place near where I work where I haven't been there in a while, but every time I go there, they have a wonderful Boilermaker deal where you can get a 16-ounce can of PBR and a shot of well whiskey for like
Right.
$6.
Yep.
And I
Anyway,
five.
can
It was five, and I went there many times with Super Chiller. But this is the first time I was there with Belgian Baby.
But so the prequel to that, just to things that we're glad we're still
Oh, yeah,
alive
yeah.
and not going to,
Yeah.
So I actually fulfilled, I'm not going to use the term bucket list because I feel like that's overused, but I fulfilled a wish. I make a wish for myself.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Anyway,
A pale
for years
list.
now, there you go. That was good.
That was solid.
For
A pale memo.
Yeah. For many years now, I've known about the hard hat tours that they do on Ellis Island.
Oh,
And
sure.
these are for the hospital buildings, which have fallen into major disrepair. I mistakenly thought that they were doing these to raise money to restore them. And I found out that no, they have decided they are beyond restoring, but they want to keep preserving them in the best condition possible. And the tour guide actually used the term arrested decay. And it was absolutely fascinating. And I've wanted to do it since pre-COVID, which is sort of how sometimes I realize how long ago things are or how long I've wanted to do things. So I finally got there on Saturday and it was amazing. And so it was just one of those, like, this is a very cool thing. And the Save Ellis Island Foundation is always looking for volunteer tour guides. So there may be something to that in the future. But then I met the captain on Liberty Island and we went to the White Horse Tavern in downtown Manhattan
Yes.
and had the $5
Classic.
house whiskey PBR combo. And I must say, I was delightfully surprised because it was good. Like PBR gets such a bad rap, and perhaps it was the whiskey foundation, but I found it very drinkable.
I would say as macro beers go, it's one of the more drinkable ones.
Yeah.
Dylan Thomas would be proud.
He would be proud.
Yeah.
And
Although this is the other White
That's
Horse.
the other
the
White
other
Horse.
White Horse. Yeah, the other White Horse.
This is the cheap-ass White Horse.
1934.
All right, we'll edit that
This one was built. But no, the bartender was all about that. This is we are not the Dylan
Now,
Thomas one. But
here's
anyway,
the thing.
it was good times.
Usually, I would read you the riot act
Of
for
course.
for PBR drinking because
And
yeah, exactly. But here's the
Yeah.
thing: tonight I have found Jesus, and for that I say, "Bless you, my children."
There we go.
Hey,
For we are
Bless it.
all connected in the wide world
Yes.
of beer.
Is Huck going to play us out
and
with
there
the
are no
gospel
sins to be
version?
forgiven.
There
because
are no
that's
sins
what
to be
we do.
forgiven. But if
The
you'd like to
gospel-
see us sin more, hey, Captain, where can people find us on the interwebs?
Great question.
Just put
Excellent
that
question.
@ symbol, put the Beer Avengers. And actually, if you want to, I mean, we're not suggesting that we're at all bitter, but if you want to engage our troll, I'm sure he'll appreciate the attention. So they're on episode 104 on YouTube. And so if you want to go there and add to the comments and that, but it would be your choice, of course. But if you just want to reach out to us, you can reach out at thebeeravengers@gmail.com. Slide into our DMs on Instagram at the Beer Avengers. Is it slide? Is that what I say?
Yes,
Is
it
Okay.
is the sliding of
That's
into the DMs. That
Got
is
it
that is
right.
what we're
There we
looking
There
for.
you go. Yeah.
All
Now,
right.
Huck, do you have a gospel version of the Beer Avengers theme
Yeah, I was
to go with
working
our
on it
Jesus?
earlier.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, we're the beer Avengers, beer. Beer Avengers, beer Avengers. We're the Beer Avengers.
Hallelujah.
Praise it.
Amen.